Welcome to the Go Flush Yourself podcast with Jared Kirk and Matt Milbauer. Hey, listeners, before we get started on the episode, I would like to remind you all to check out the Discord channel. We have a few more people joined since the last episode, and we're on there chatting away about, upland hunting, flushing dogs, shotguns, vehicles we're driving, all sorts of fun stuff. We have Patreon members in there. We have some guests in there. Jared and I are in there. Come check it out. Speaking of the Patreon, we do have the $2 a month subscription set up on Patreon. Consider donating to that if you feel so inclined. All of that goes back into the podcast so we can continue having it. Links to both of those and all of our social media are in the podcast description. Feel free to check those out. Also, I want to warn you about the first 7 or 8 minutes of this podcast. My microphone was, I believe, switched over to my AirPods, which I usually just use to listen to our guests, but this time it was using those, I think, as a microphone, is why the audio, it's not horrible to where you can't listen, but it's just not as good as normal. I realized it about 7 or 8 minutes in and switched over to my microphone, so it should be good from them. Just giving you a heads up. Anyhow, I hope you enjoy the episode. Hey, you're listening to another episode of the Go Flush Yourself podcast. I'm Matt Milbauer here with my co-host, as always, Jared Kirk. Jared, how's it going?
Good, Matt. How you doing?
Oh, doing pretty good. Work's done for the day, so I'm pretty happy.
There you go.
Yeah. We're joined today by a guest, Rex Sherburn, who joins us. He actually is local to Jared and I in Eastern Washington in the Tri-Cities area, and we actually met through our somewhat newly formed Pheasants Forever chapter. Welcome, Rex.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you. So all of us are in the Pheasants Forever chapter. We had a meeting last night. I couldn't make it. I know Rex was there, did my note-taking duties for me. Jared, did you make it to last night's meeting?
I did not.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of people, I think, not there. But Rex actually, pretty quick, early on in the chapter, volunteered to be our habitat chairperson or habitat coordinator, and has already done some work there and getting our kind of young chapter rolling on that. And he also, we'll get into more of this later, has a dog that flushes birds like Jared and I do. So makes him a good candidate to be on the Go Flush Yourself podcast. All right. Kind of, Rex, I guess the first question we have for you is, what made you want to join like Pheasants Forever in general? Whenever you joined it the first time?
So probably over 20 years ago now, the person that introduced me, my family wasn't really a hunting family per se, but my dad's friend, he was into hunting, and he introduced me to pheasant hunting, and I was hooked pretty much from there. And I remember him telling stories about going to like North Dakota, South Dakota, hunting pheasants, and he was always a member of Pheasants Forever. I always remembered that, and that's pretty much from then on. I was been a pheasant fan and been in Pheasants Forever.
Very cool. So I imagine you heard about our chapter starting up we start like middle of last year, early last year.
Yeah.
So that's like early 2024. So it's now March 2025. And then I remember you coming to the first meeting because you brought up your dog breed, which we can get into later. And my dad was thinking, I've had that dog breed before, so it's very similar to to what you have. We can get into that though. But that's when I was like, I want to talk to him about that. But you pretty early on volunteered to kind of be in charge of our habitat activities. What made you want to volunteer for that?
That kind of also goes back to that gentleman I mentioned that got me introduced into pheasant hunting. We were out behind, I think it was a prune orchard at the time, and there's maybe 400 feet of blackberry vines, bushes running down the length of this orchard. And this was probably my first time pheasant hunting. We pulled up there and he's like, let's run the dog. He had a liver and white Springer. And he's like, let's run the dog through here. I had my Mossberg 520 gauge, which I still have. And he's like, why don't you use my Browning Satori? So I used his Satori, and the dog went in. I don't remember which side. I mean, it was all a blur. I mean, the dog went in there and those bushes exploded. I mean, over 50 pheasants in there, and they were going left, right. And I'm like 12 or 13 years old. I've never seen anything like that. And I pulled the trigger on one, missed it. And then I pulled the trigger on the next one and I missed it. And I mean, I missed both shots. I was just so flustered by what was going on at the moment, and I missed them. Anyways, it wasn't a big deal, but so we come back to that spot the following year and it's gone. Like they destroyed all they just took it out and replanted orchard in that area. And ever since that, like I remember that spot and I remember it being put into orchard, and then it was gone, and there's literally no pheasants there now. That's pretty much, that's why that's the main reason for the habitat.
Yeah, that's actually, like, that story's kind of a metaphor for a lot of the things going on like larger scales that can happen to chunks of land, whether private or public, and watching our habitat either degrade or get lost in general. Like, so it sounds almost like a twofold thing. Like, not only did you have a memory from like a childhood almost memory of this awesome, crazy thing that probably stuck with you, of seeing all these pheasants get up and missing them, and then, having that kind of stick with you. But then also, I can imagine, and you can let me know if I'm close on this, but like, you probably kind of want to revenge the next year. Like, next year I'm going to hit him. And then you went there and it was gone. And then like that was kind of taken from you to have that chance to kind of redeem yourself. Because I remember being about that age and missing a pheasant and just not being able to like wait until I could get back out and kind of like prove myself to me and to my dad who was with me and the pheasants, And yeah, it's kind of interesting. So like, tell me more about how you got started in that. So like, tell me more about, because you didn't come from a hunting family, but you kind of had a mentor. Kind of tell me how that got started.
So my dad, he shoots, like, he does a lot of target shooting, and his friend that introduced me to the pheasant hunting, they were target shooters together. He was an older gentleman. I mean, no lie, this guy landed on Normandy Beach in World War II. Like, landed on the beach, made it through, like, like crazy. Like, just he was a grumpy old guy, but I mean, he was a good person. And he was just a friend of the family's. I think my dad's friend was like his stepdad or something. I don't remember. He's passed away now, of course, but he got me introduced into upland hunting mainly. And I mean, there's not much. We hunted a few times pheasant hunting, and then mainly him and my dad and us, my brother and I, we'd always shoot squirrels in the orchards, and that was kind of our big thing, was shooting squirrels over there. But then we started into the pheasant hunting after we saw pheasants in there. So
right. So how did that transition to being an adult hunter? Like, was it you always hunted every season, or was there like a fall off at some point when you were like late teen? Like, did that fall apart at some point?
Kind of between there and probably getting, I'd say 14 and 15, I probably wasn't. I'd have to ride my bike to go hunt. Like, I would ride my bike, or my parents would drop me off and I'd hunt a couple pieces I had. It really picked up after I got my driver's license, of course, in high school. Then I could literally go hunt after school. And which was mainly dove and quail at the time, but because that was the most accessible to me. And then, it just once from then on, it kind of tapered off a little bit when my wife and I had kids, but then now they're older and I'm getting back into it more. So
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I did a similar thing. Like, as a teenager, I hunted a lot, but in my 20s, my kids were young and we were busy, and I just didn't have a dog. I tried to get dogs, and it would never work out. I would like rehome them, and finally, the kids are old afterwards. Like, I can get out and do this now more regular.
Yeah, you get more time to actually like do the things you want to do.
Yeah.
It's almost like not like a roller coaster, but it's, I'm hunting and then I'm not. I'm hunting and then I'm not. So
yeah, stages of life and all that, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. So Rex, let's talk about the dog. What kind of dog you got?
She's half Springer. Her dad's a Springer, English Springer, and then her mom was a Brittany, so she's half Brittany, half Springer.
Would that be a
So how'd you?
A Brittinger? A Brittinger?
Yeah,
a bringer? A bringer?
A bringer.
It's a bringer.
Brings you birds.
Yeah.
I got her off of I found her in the Giant Nickel, the local. I don't know, it's online now, but it's just like classified ads.
I remember that paper.
Yeah, she was, I think she was about 60 miles west of here. I found her. I just saw the ad. It was a good price. I wasn't expecting anything great, but it worked. She's a good dog. I mean, they all have the instinct in them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
was she your first bird dog?
Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had Cocker Spaniels and like a Springer Spaniel. I think we had a Springer Spaniel at one time, but I think he was mixed breed with something like a lab or something else, but I didn't hunt with him.
A Springador.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting dog. Does it have kind of like a false point, or is it just strictly a flusher? Does it like pull up one leg and like have a straight tail when it flushes, or how does that work?
She'll pull up a leg.
Really?
If it's something really interesting, she'll hold on it, but most of the time, if it's a bird, she's in there flushing it.
But,
right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, she'll hold. She won't point per se, but she'll hold on stuff.
Right. Probably, and someone's going to get mad about this, but it sounds kind of like a pointing lab. Like they're not.
Yeah.
Is it like a pointer, a setter pointing it? No, but it's a stop and hold. And I think maybe Kelly in our chapter might not like me saying that. She has pointing labs, but
I think Mike
it's not
does
degrading.
too.
It's just it's not as strong as a point on average.
Yeah, and I think Mike has pointing labs too.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, definitely interesting. So how's what have you been after? What was your dog's name again? I can't recall.
Bo.
Bo, that's right.
Yeah, BOE, like little
B-O-E.
Bo Peep.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
What have you been after with Bo lately? Mainly pheasants and quail like us around here, or have you found anything else?
Pheasants, chucker and hun, no quail.
Oh, really? We're gonna have to like probe you for spots after this, like where are you finding the chucker, where are you finding the huns?
Yeah.
You can plead the fifth.
Chucker was
fine.
in Oregon. The chuckers were in Oregon.
We got places for quail. We can do a trade.
I found plenty of quail. I just can't shoot the quail.
Oh, fair enough.
So you hunt them, you flush them. It's just a matter of dropping one. I think that's a lot of people's problems.
There was quite a few quail this year. I was surprised. Like lots of quail.
Yeah, this year was a good year for quail.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were chatting earlier and talking about where was that? And we were talking about quail. Like it's been kind of a boom year the last couple of years for quail. Essentially, since Jared's been back from Arizona, I think he must have brought the magic back with him. But but before that, it was dead. At least I couldn't find quail anywhere for a handful of years. It was. I thought, well, we've lost our quail finally. But then, sure enough, conditions must have been just right, and they came back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Um,
surprised by the amount I've seen this year. Them and Huns. I've seen a lot of Huns this year in random
y-
spots.
yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. Probably, I don't know if you caught that episode, but like I found Huns for the first time like last year, and this year they're much more plentiful. We start seeing them once you start looking for them. So I mean, it's a good sign. I know it's boom bust, and that's how it always is. I know right now it's boom, and this too shall pass, and eventually we'll be back to bust when the conditions change. But I'm gonna be happy with it as long as we can be.
Yeah, hold
So
out for
Rex,
another
if you,
good year this year.
yeah, I'm so far so good with the winter and the early spring we have. I mean, I think we're in a good shape.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the next year's report.
Mhm.
What are they? I can't remember the name of it, but they print like hunters versus harvests, and I like to see
Oh
those
Yeah,
yeah,
numbers.
the game harvest report.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
just to see the numbers on the quail and stuff this year.
yeah, because quail's been in like steady decline. I want to say for a while, um, trending that way at least. I wonder if it ticked up this last year because everyone I've talked to has been getting into quail. I'm like, I don't know if I went anywhere and didn't at least flush some quail or hear them chatting with each other.
Yeah. But I kind of wonder like how, because you almost have to like, because I think that the numbers are obviously going to be kind of skewed. I think a little bit, obviously, but like it seems like no one, at least maybe it's just where I'm at, and I don't talk to a lot of people, but like you just don't see a lot of like upland hunters. Obviously, when I go to PF like stuff, there's everyone hunts upland, but like outside of that though, like even like when we'd go out, me and you, Matt, like we'd see people hunting, but they were like duck hunting or like deer hunting or elk hunting in like random places that don't have elk. Um, but not a lot. I don't think we really ran into very many like actual like bird hunters.
It's kind of true outside of one particular very popular public land spot.
But that's only
Um,
popular on like opening day of pheasants.
true.
Outside of that, like I might run into one guy maybe. Um, but typically, like I typically don't run into anybody.
I always kind of wonder. There's a lot of people that will do Pheasants Forever and come to our meetings and
Mm-hmm.
participate and help out and do all the stuff, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And have a dog and have the gun and have hunted in the past. But sometimes I think it gets away from people. Like it's like, oh, I went another season, I didn't get to go. I've heard more than one person say that. Like I think in our chapter alone, like I didn't get out this year. In my brain, I'm like,
Yeah.
you missed a
How?
year. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, oh, it happens. And it's like, okay. So, everyone's in different phases of their life and has different
True.
availabilities and schedules. So I wonder if there's some of that to where like
Yeah.
some people get after it really heavily and some don't. But they're all quote unquote upland hunters, right? Like that's what
Yeah.
it's part of their hobby and their life.
I see. To me, it seems like there's more people out dove hunting than any of the other uplands, like
True.
upland hunting.
Yeah. I'll see like dove hunters are like, but again, it's almost like opening day is like, at least from my perspective and stuff like that. When I go out, it's like opening day. I know I'm gonna have to fight for spots, but then like the next day, it's like less, and then the next weekend, it's like no one's out again, and
Yeah.
it's. I'm not complaining. I'm okay with it. It's just like it's just I just find it kind of like it just kind of everyone's like duck hunting around here, which I get because there's a lot of ducks and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
um. Yeah, not complaining about it. It's just kind of an interesting observation I've had.
Well,
Yeah.
kind of going back to, oh, go ahead, Rex.
There's some. The only place I really run into, this year I've ran into people is there's some state ground to the west of us.
Try not to be too direct with where these places are. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're good.
Just it's to the west of me, west
Yeah.
of you guys, and it's state like DNR land. One section state DNR land, the other section's that wildlife area. But that's the
Okay.
only place I ever see other upland hunters.
Interesting.
I
Yeah,
ran into some
it's
with my brother, but yeah, Jared, you and I never did. I don't think. I can't
no.
think of a time we ran into did that outside of
Yeah.
opening day.
I ran into one guy and he wasn't even hunting. He was just I don't know what he was doing in all honesty. Like it was quail season and I ran into one guy in a truck and it was like an older guy and he was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Quail hunting." And he was like, "Oh, there's not quail around here." And I'm like,
Hmm.
"Okay. I just shot one, but that's fine." And
I keep thinking that.
yeah, I was like, that's fine. I was like, what are you doing out here? He's like, I'm just driving around. I'm like, okay. Well, I was like, just very kind of random dude that just kind of like randomly stopped me while I was like hunting with my dog.
It's weird people.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people that say that. Where I've met a few folks around here that trial their dogs, whether it be springers or pointing breed, versatile breeds, and I'll say like, oh, do you hunt? I'm like, well, I used to, but there's no birds anymore. I'm like, I got a decent amount this year. Oh, just the planted ones. I'm like, I didn't shoot one planted bird this year. Nothing against planted birds, but like this year I didn't. I shot only wild birds on public land. Like they're out there, and it's not. I didn't work that hard for them. Like it wasn't like, yeah, I walked 20 miles and I got one bird. It's like, no, I didn't do that. There is that perception, and we ran into that too when we started the chapter. Like when we announced it first on Facebook, I'm not sure if you saw that, Rex, but people were on there right away and saying like, "There's no pheasants here. You're wasting your time." It's kind of the attitude, and it's like,
same as the Sportsman show.
Yeah, we got that at the Sportsman show. So there's a local for listeners. There's a local Sportsman show in Pasco, Washington, and we had a booth there, and another chapter near us had a booth also, and so we had a presence there for Pheasants Forever. And yeah, there's lots of folks that are like, "There's no pheasants here." It's like, well, A, yes, and B, like, would you like to see some? You can help us out.
Yeah. But I wonder. I know they did like there's a they did it. I think it was more for like deer hunters and stuff like that. But they did kind of like a survey type thing, and it sounded like from like the kind of general consensus of the survey is like most people don't go farther than like a half a mile from the road.
Oh,
They
yeah.
just that's like that's their they just don't go further than that.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wonder, and a lot I don't know if it's like with the I guess more prevalence of like side by sides and stuff like that, not shotguns, but the UTV type things. Is like how people will just like go out and like they're like we're going hunting and they just stay in the UTV the entire time and maybe get out like maybe 100 yards from the UTV and they're like, oh, there's no birds here. I was like, well, if you just would have want like another like if you would have walked like maybe 3/4 of a mile, you might have found some stuff.
Well, you got to
That's
think
how-
about how like niche what we're talking about really is in the general population. I mean, like a small percentage of the population hunts, and then a smaller percentage of that bird hunts, and a smaller percentage of that upland hunts. And then it keep going with dogs, and we could say with flushers, but it doesn't. We're talking like pheasant hunting, for example.
Yeah.
And then in Washington State, like we're not in South Dakota, we're not in Minnesota, we're not in Nebraska, like we're in Washington State, and like the perception is they're not here already, and like what small amount like of the population's like, yeah, I'm gonna go out there and really go after it on a Saturday on this cold blustery day. Like to us three, that might sound like heaven, but yeah, I think that maybe to your point, Jared, like that population's pretty dang small.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think people walk as, I prefer to walk in and hunt, not just, you see it more in big game hunting, people just driving around and looking, and that's, I mean, I got like somebody drove in to where I hunted this year, drove in, drove out, and I went in there and shot a buck right below where they were at this year. They just didn't get out. Like I got out, walked, and there it was.
Yep. I saw that a lot when I was in Arizona. I saw it a lot, especially when I was like javelina hunting and stuff like that. Like I'd hike up a mountain, sit down with my 15x binos and a tripod, and I just see UTVs just driving around, and they're just driving around like herds of javelinas. I'm not seeing them. Interesting stuff. It's but then I think Matt, we walked 10 miles, 11 miles on opening day.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Bridget did 30. No.
Yeah.
Maybe she did. Yeah. I remember looking at her GPS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think we did 10 or 11 miles. I think, like Bridget did 30. I think Bones did that amount.
We both could have limited on pheasants, and we both could have had more quail than we brought home, but we both brought home some birds too. So
yeah,
like we had plenty of opportunity and success.
Had we shot better, we probably would have. But that was a good day. But yeah, I mean, like it wasn't. I mean, we went after it, but it wasn't like I don't think it was ridiculous what we did.
You could
either.
go
It's like,
harder. Yeah.
yeah, we could have gone a lot harder.
Yeah. A guy could go way harder on something like,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, and we hit up a handful of spots, and we didn't hunt any one of the spots too hard. You know, like it
Mhm.
wasn't like we hit one up and it's like, wow, we exhausted it, unless it was
Yeah.
super small. But yeah, I think the opportunity's out there. It's just like, maybe it's dedication. I don't know. Like, I have hobbies that I'm not super dedicated to, but I enjoy, but I'm not like
Mhm.
doing it, giving it my all like I do more so for upland hunting. So, if there's just less people out there, it's just yeah, it's more niche than we think, because it's kind of a lot of our life. We think about you, Rex, but you're not, we think about hunting a lot, like
Mhm.
just upland hunting a lot, and our dogs and our guns and all the stuff. I mean, we made a podcast. But like, it's and it kind of in a bigger picture, it's when people are like so many people don't hunt, but I try to imagine like what would my life be like if I didn't hunt. I'm like, there would be something missing. There would be something that just didn't feel right. Like, I'm not living a complete life. Like, that's how ingrained it is in a lot of us. And other folks probably have their own things like that we couldn't imagine not doing. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I agree. I'm not sure what it is, whether it's the thought that there's just not any birds anymore, or lack of effort, or probably a little bit all of the above.
Could be trophy hunting too. Everybody's
Yeah.
after that big trophy.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, outside of like giant pheasants and stuff like that, but then it's also like it's kind of hard to tell like if that's going to be a giant pheasant on the wing. I mean, like
Yeah.
usually you have kind of a split second and be like it's a rooster, and then when it's on the ground you're like, oh, it's a big pheasant. But outside of that, not a lot of trophy, like I guess not a lot of trophy quail. They're not the yeah, you don't have the like the Boone and Crockett score. We're not pulling out tape measures and stuff like that, and like getting skull sizes and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
maybe we
It's
should.
less
Maybe see what
gamified, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess outside of like tail feathers, like that's something people like to brag about and get the tape measure out for. But even then,
Yeah.
it's like, I guess maybe it's limits. Like, I shot a limit. Like, that's a way to measure it. But
True.
yeah, the way I really couldn't quantitatively measure a good day in the upland fields. Like, oh, it was definitely a limit out. Like, no, it could be one bird I worked hard for. It could be no birds and a beautiful day with my dog. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's so much more qualitative, and all of hunting probably is, but kind of to the point of trophy hunting, yeah, if you're big game hunting, you can quantify it pretty quick, at least for the season, which is obviously much shorter too.
Mm-hmm.
Man, yeah.
But I also wonder if that's part of it too, because it's like because like deer season, especially in Washington State, is like what, 2 weekends, I think,
Yeah.
or like maybe 2 weeks, something like that. I mean, I guess archery season's a little longer. And muzzleloader's like a little shorter, but not as long, or not as long as not as long as archery, but not as short as modern, I guess. But then I wonder if like because bird season basically starts September 1st and goes till what, end of January,
January.
and it's
Yeah.
just kind of like it's almost like the like I'll have time to do it, kind of like thing. And
Yeah.
then eventually like you're just like, oh well, that was a season, because I just assumed I would find time, and then just never go. But like with big game hunting, you like you only have like a week or two, and you're just like, well, I got to go this weekend, otherwise I can't.
Yeah, and also a lot of people rely on getting that one deer, right? Like, I need to get a muley because that's going to be my freezer for the year, and that's what we're going to eat. So
Yeah.
like, they put some pressure on themselves to go get that one deer because they're kind of got it built into their food budget for the year.
Yeah.
And birds aren't that, right? Like, no one's saying I don't have to buy chicken at all this year because I shot enough pheasants. Like, that's
It's a
I don't think it's
delicacy.
mathematically possible even.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't have enough wings for the Super Bowl party if you're relying on that.
It's true.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but the thing too is, like, kind of back to Rex being our habitat person, is like, we can change that and bring attention to it. It's always the age-old question: do you want more hunters? But like, if you're being selfish and out there wanting to get them on for yourself, and you're not one of the hunters out there, but at the same time, it's like, if we can improve habitat and improve opportunity, we can actually support more hunters. And people don't maybe they take for granted, at least in our area and probably in the Western U.S., how much public land we really have. Like Jared and I have talked about this in the past, where like I didn't get to hunt all the places I wanted to hunt this year that were just public land. Like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
I hunted every weekend, both days, almost every weekend, and I never. There's a list of places I'm like, oh, I didn't get there this year.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
And they're
definitely
close too. Like they're not super far away. They just happen to be like slightly outside of like where most of our normal spots are.
well, even that, like somewhere within, like well within, I just didn't opt to
Yeah.
go there. I went somewhere else, and like some places were half hour away tops, and still
Yeah.
didn't get there. So like there's opportunity. So yeah, improving the habitat and doing the kind of work we're starting to do with our chapter is only going to increase that, and hopefully we can
Mm-hmm.
attract some more hunters and grow that base, because the more voices we have, also the better to do other bigger things in the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, more habitat, more birds, more hunters, more promotion for our chapters, and more support for the chapters too.
More
Yeah.
more money out
Yeah.
there coming through license sales,
That's
buying
yeah.
all the taxes that come from guns and whatnot that go back into that system. So all around it's circular and will help out the more we can grow it. But the attitude is it's
No
pervasive,
birds.
man. It's
Yeah.
there's just no birds. It's like
My goal, not just improving habitat, but just showing our area that our chapter is doing stuff to help habitat, to grow our habitat. That's my biggest goal, is to get our name out there, showing that we're doing something to help, and then hopefully that'll draw in even more people.
yeah. And I'm really, every time, I mean, I get a little, I try not to, because I know I'm representing the chapter and Pheasants Forever at large. But for my personal social media accounts, I'll be like, when someone says that, it's like, you don't have to complain. If you want to complain, fine. And that's all you want to do. But like, if you really, really are caring about this and pissed that there's no birds or whatever you think, like, come help us. We got, like, Rex has got things on our docket ready to go for us to go do these things on various dates and times. Other chapters have things going on around our state, just our eastern part of the state. And so I'm trying not to be rude about it online, but at the same time, it's like, put your money
Do
where your
something about
mouth
it.
is, or your time where your
Yeah.
mouth is, and get out there and help us out. Like anything you can do. Someone's like, well, I can't do this. And it's like, literally tell me your skill set and we will find something for you to do. We will find something that can help us. Everyone, I don't care if you're an accountant, we need help with our books. If you're, it goes through all those different things. I don't care what you do. We need your help if you're interested in this cause.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that no birds thing drives me nuts when people say that when I see it. It's just like, first off, it's not true. And like, I can't tell if it's like they're just disinterested. It's like, no birds. I don't care. It wouldn't have gone anyhow kind of attitude. Or if it's like they really think that and they stopped hunting because of it. Like, it just makes me sad.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to just random people. Like when we had our pint night, when I was getting that set up, there was some people there and I was talking to them about our chapter. And, that's the first thing. Oh, there's no birds anymore. And some of those guys were farmers, and they're the reason why some of those areas don't have pheasants anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Well, they might not be the reason, but the system that they're entrenched in is the reason.
Yeah.
I want to say
different
them, but yeah.
farming practices, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying though.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we first started the chapter, I got some phone calls right away from some landowners in the area who were like, I want to see birds. Like, what can I do, Pheasants Forever guy? I'm like, hey, I'm just a dude who started a chapter who's a pheasant hunter who lives in town. I'm like, I want to help you, but I don't have an answer yet. But like, stick around and we'll get you answers. We'll get the right connections for you. So it's cool to see that out there and see folks like landowners saying, I want to see birds. Like, one guy made the comment, I've told the story a couple times. He said something to the effect of, when he was younger, and he's older gentleman now, he said, when I was younger, there were birds everywhere. You couldn't turn a corner without seeing pheasants run across the road. He was like, and we shot a lot of them. And he said, and I feel a little guilty, not that we shot too many at the time, but I feel guilty that younger generations don't have the opportunities. Like, I have some land, I'm a farmer, like, what can I do? I'm like, all right, like, stick with us, we're gonna get you there. And so on. But yeah, it's an uphill battle, but it's a good battle to fight. And I'm glad we got this started and that we're rolling with it.
Yeah, I mean, Pheasants Forever, they have so much support for landowners. I mean, us as a chapter, like there's so much things, there's so many things in the backside of Pheasants Forever that people don't realize, like all the biologists,
Yeah.
the seeds, like there's so much there to support landowners, public or private, and us as chapters.
Yeah, I really see the chapter, and I'd love to hear from other chapters out there if they're listening to kind of give us some feedback on this. But because we're relatively new to it, still under a year, and I really see us as like the connective tissue between like those who have the land or donations or whatever, and then like we don't know what to do with this, but we want to do something, and then we can connect them with the PF biologists and all of their stuff, but also our state. We've had 3 state biologists come to a lot of our meetings,
Yeah.
and have had lots of information. And I know you've been working with them closer than any of us, Rex, on getting some things set up where we can help them out. But they had so much opportunities, and they have so much need for people just to volunteer and help them out with different things they do that I never would have known about if it wasn't for our chapter and getting with them. So like it's good. Well, one of them said, at least last meeting I was at, so whatever that was, last month.
Yeah, February.
Yeah, I think he meant it was the pint night, right? He mentioned like,
Yeah.
oh, well, we do pheasant releases at our habitat management units. When the state actually buys and releases pheasants for like opening day and a couple other of the weekends usually. And like I think everyone's ears perked up, like, wait, I could help with that. And he's like, we need help doing that. And like I
Yeah.
could see the tension of everyone being like, how do I get to be that person to help them out? But like that, and that's fun, and also probably a little informative for the upland hunter. But other things too, I was just as excited about, like, oh wait, we can actually go help you do those kinds of things. Like, yeah, I want to see more of that, and I have a Saturday I could burn for that.
Yeah, they got a lot of projects, not enough people, and limited budgets.
Yeah,
And I
and if we
feel
can
like
do
that's where I think our volunteer work would help them out.
yeah, and like folks out there who want to help, whether I don't care where you're listening, there's probably a chapter near you, or a group like Pheasants Forever near you for your game bird or your habitat. Like, if you have money or if you have time, or anything else, you need to get in touch with them and figure out how you can help them, because they need everyone's help, and there's only so many of us out there. Well, I hate to switch topics. This is a good one, but I'm curious about something, Rex. So you have your dog now. Your, what do we call it? A bringer?
Bringer.
Yeah, Bringer. I like that.
I think
Bringer.
that's the name. I think that's the breed name. Anyhow,
Spitney.
Dang, that's good too.
Yeah.
What in the future are you ever thinking about other dog breeds or future dogs? Like, what got your gears spinning there for future dogs?
I mean, I love spaniels. I've always loved spaniels since when I was a kid. We had a Cocker Spaniel. Wasn't a hunting dog, but I love that dog and Springers ever since. But I mean, I'd like to get a pointer just because. But I mean,
What kind
I
of
don't
pointing
know.
dog?
I don't know what breed yet.
Yeah,
I'd like something kind of neat, kind of not a German Shorthair or GSP, but
right.
something different.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. The Flesh and Dogs with the chucker was kind of a struggle because it was just like run, run, run. But pointer
Yeah.
would be nice for that.
Yeah, I will say, Jared can attest to this. I've been Brittany curious here for a little bit. I know this is the Go Flush Yourself podcast, but I've been Brittany curious, and we were out after some Huns, and when Bridget flushed one and I shot one, I think I said to her, I said to you, Jared, I said like, I think I said in front of you, Jared, I said to Bridget, I said, well, you just saved yourself from getting a Brittany sister. You can get it done without being a pointer. So I guess I'll stay with the Springers or the Cockers for now. But yeah, I'm always looking at different breeds out there and seeing, because it's one of those things you wish you could have them all. Like, I like to try all of them, but life's only so long, and you only have so many room for so much dogs.
Yeah, I want something with like short hair. That's my goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one.
The
That's a big one.
stickers, I mean, it's some of the stickers we have like on some of the I to me I only find it on like the state wildlife areas.
Yes.
It's some nasty, not just those cocklebur things, but there's some other stickers out there that really tear my dog up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah,
why I got that Kuga vest.
Yeah. How's that working out for you?
Great so far. I probably shouldn't have got the narrow, but it
Oh,
still
that's right. You
works.
asked me, like, I told you I got the narrow.
Yeah. I mean, she's wide enough. I think she didn't need the narrow,
Yeah.
but it works. She did great. We went back out there and she didn't have any stickers on her. So
Good. That's helpful. The thing with my dog is the ears, because those long spaniel ears, they're
yeah.
just like magnets to everything. And it really is on a lot of that state land. I think it's actually good habitat. Like it's
Yeah.
good cover for the birds, um, which is awesome. But then it makes for a long afternoon of getting all that out of your dog.
Yes, it does.
Has Jared's learned with his new Springer.
His stuff hasn't been too bad, but everyone like I'll find him in like weird spots. Like usually it's his armpits, and then so I
Yeah.
feel really bad, because it's like they can't be super comfy. The vests seem to help pretty well, but there's always burrs somewhere in him. So
Yeah, takes forever, and especially on Sophie, her hair is a little longer. But I do appreciate that. It feels like fieldbred dogs. At least we can talk about fieldbred spaniels. Like their coats are getting shorter and shorter. It feels like Bones' coat is really short.
short, yeah,
When you look at like a bench bred spaniel like Springer, like I can't imagine picking the burrs out
yeah,
of that. It's a lot. It's
Yeah.
also true with setters. Like I've noticed, like if you watch YouTube videos of setters, you'll see that a lot of their coats are as short as our fieldbred Springers. Like they're much shorter than the setter. You kind of think about the classic looking setter with all that long hair. So
I
being selectively bred out.
try to time my dog's haircut so she's short throughout hunting season, but when the thick of winter, she's got a little more coat on her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. I hear you. So I do a
just
similar
keeping
thing with
those ears
Sophie.
trimmed.
Do
yeah.
you keep your dog short? Do you like buzz the
Yeah,
ears?
just not just she's still, you can still tell she's a Springer. She's got the longer hair,
Yeah.
but like up underneath is where I try to
Oh
trim
yeah,
her.
from the neck up on the bottom of the
Yeah,
ear. Yeah, I always trim that off of my dogs too, especially during hunting season, because that's just full of burrs.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was curious also, you brought up the Cougar vest. What's some other gear that's some of your favorite gear for upland hunting or dog training or eating all the above?
So far, I've been rocking my same vest I've had since high school, which
Nice.
it was a Cabela's vest I bought. Um, not this last Christmas, previous Christmas, my wife bought me the Cabela's Instinct harness,
Oh yeah.
which it's amazing. Like that's my first vest harness I've had, and it's night and day different than having all your weight on just the shoulders.
Yeah.
And then on your waist. I mean, it's night and day difference, and I can pack more, and I'm not tired. Less impact on my body, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, I've noticed that going from my game hide vest, which is probably similar to your Cabela's,
Yeah.
to the Final Rise, and it puts it all on your hips for the most part. Yeah, it is night and day difference. Like I didn't realize how much my shoulders hurt after a hunt until they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
hiking, to me, I can do more hiking with it, like going after chucker and stuff like that, and not fumbling around with stuff. I mean, that's my favorite piece. That and being able to hold water bottles.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
were talking about that last episode.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, those are the ones
Yeah.
I use, the green with the orange top, and squeeze it in the dog's mouth.
Yeah.
So.
It's such a strangely important thing. It's just a green Gatorade water bottle, but like I guess you can get any water bottle that functions that way. It doesn't have to be Gatorade, but
Yeah.
like it's so simple to do that. And if your dog will drink that way, usually you can teach him.
Yeah.
When I got Sophie as an adult, like she was like, "What are you spraying me with water for?" But it took her half a hunt before she was drinking like that. So much
Yeah.
easier than carrying a bowl or having to do something like that or deal with lids and
Yeah.
snap
I still
tops
have
and all that stuff.
I carry a little bowl with me with a carabiner. It clips on.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
the
I have
classic
one of
one.
those too.
Yeah, and then it came with a Hydro Pack water pack, but I don't. It's nice, but I don't like hunting in that hot of weather where I would need that. So
Yeah, it's true. We need that much water going into your dog. Yeah, I hear you.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's been a night and day difference. That's probably my favorite piece of gear.
Nice. Yeah, that's I haven't thought about that kind of gear. I've seen those before, but yeah, that would help a lot in adjusting where your weight hits. Jared, did you have any other questions for Rex?
I know you kind of briefly. What do you run a Browning, the Satori? Is that what you're saying? You're shooting?
No, I run a Remington 1100
Oh, okay.
Oh,
left-handed,
nice.
A left-handed. Okay.
which was the gentleman's that introduced me to pheasants. It was his gun, gave it to me.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
I didn't get the Satori. That was a Gold Series Satori. And I
Man.
think, if I remember correctly, he donated that to a Pheasants Forever chapter in Southern California, I believe,
Oh wow.
before he passed away.
So was he left-handed and you're left-handed, or do you?
Yep.
Wow, that's lucky.
So my grandpa's right-handed, or excuse me, my grandpa's left-handed. I'm left-handed. My dad's right-handed. My brother's right-handed. My kids are left-handed. Just shooting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So are you left eye dominant then too?
Yes.
Oh, it's lucked out, and then you inherited a left hand semi-auto gun too. That's,
Yeah. Yeah.
that all just
But
worked
I-
right out for you.
But I shoot bows left-handed. Like I shoot
Okay.
pistols right-handed. I play pool left-handed, and I write right-handed and bowl right-handed. Yeah, I do a bunch of
All over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now that I'm steadily employed, as an adult, I try to buy left-handed firearms now. So
Yeah.
That makes
When you
sense.
can find them, I'm guessing.
yeah, there's quite a bit. You just got to look.
Yeah. Is that a 12 gauge? I take it. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Cool. What do you like to shoot through it?
Whatever I can find. mainly sixes, steel six.
Still 6. Yeah. Me
Yeah,
too.
I mean, just for pheasants,
Yeah.
pheasants and chucker huns. I kind of just
I
that's
think-
easy to find around here, and
It's a
it's
good
the
middle
Kent-
ground.
yeah, the
too,
Kent
for
fast
everything.
steel. Yeah,
Same thing. That's what I shoot. Yeah. I feel like would I shoot something smaller on quail? Yeah, but when am I ever just quail hunting? Like
yeah.
I'm loaded for pheasant and everything else. So
The
That's
only
what
time
Will
I
gets.
the only time I shoot anything different is either like at the trap range or dove
Yeah.
hunting. That's about the only difference.
True. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and that gun has the Briley chokes in it. Like it's got
Okay.
custom chokes. Yeah,
Nice.
Very nice.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool,
1100s are nice guns.
down in Argentina, they call them 550s
550s. Oh no.
because they only work half the time.
I only work half. Yeah.
That was a joke from my brother when we were out at the sporting clay range, and the old 1100 let me down.
Oh.
It wouldn't cycle.
Well, it's gonna happen. Are
Yeah.
those gas or inertia? Do you know Rex or
Gas.
Jared?
Gas.
Yeah,
They're
they're
gas.
gas.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. It's Remington, so I just knew Jared knew that answer right away too. So it's like, if you don't know Rex, Jared will know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Any what kind of if you could go out right now and I won't say money was no option because then you could get kind of crazy. But if you had a few grand just to go spend on a gun, what what would you be eyeballing? Would you be going for an over-under or sticking to
Probably.
semi-autos?
Probably an over/under. That I
Yeah.
mean, that 1100 gets tiring to pack.
It's heavy,
It's
right?
heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because all the other podcasts I listen to and their influence, but like the 28 gauge has some kind of a lure to it. I don't know why. They got one up at Cabela's east of us here or west of us here.
Yeah.
Last time I was in there, but I don't know. I would like a 20 gauge over and under, but
Yeah, I love mine.
if no object, no money, like money wasn't, I'd probably get a 28 gauge. Just to,
Yeah.
And I honestly, I see, I pick up empty cases, shells, 28 gauge shells out around here, which I mean,
I've seen that too. Yeah, I fix them up.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's one of those things I'm kind of with you. Like, am I just being influenced by YouTube and podcasts about 28 gauges? Because everyone's into them right now. But then every time I try to find like data around like their patterning or whatever, it's like I'm not seeing a reason not to yet to save the weight, at least for like an over under upland hunting situation, obviously. I don't see a lot of reason not to, and I'm a big fan of cutting weight off your gun, I've found. So
Yeah,
I'm
you can't
kind
go
of there
wrong with
with
the
you on that.
20.
Very 28 gauge curious.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with
20
the
gauge
20.
is a good middle ground though. Like, because you
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
because you can. I mean, 28 gauge is good, but like you have to kind of hunt for ammo too. It's just not.
Yep.
I mean, they have some at Walmart, but like it's nice just to be able to, just go to like wherever they're gonna have 12 and 20 gauge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you have 28, you got to kind of plan ahead and order that online
Yeah.
to make sure you have exactly what you want. You can't just walk into a store and depend on it.
Yeah, Sportsman's has it here. They only have a few different kinds, and I didn't even look that close. I just kind of wanted to see if they had any.
Yeah. Our Sportsman's, I've noticed, is not a very good, like, I guess, barometer of like shotgun stuff, because they just have the random stuff here. Everyone's, I don't know why they order the way they do, but they just have random shotgun shells for some reason.
The organization is what drives me nuts. I can't
Yes.
ever find anything that I want.
It's
It's there.
absolutely
I
nuts.
know it's there, but it takes me 20 minutes to find it.
Ever
Spend
since
a lot of time in
Sportsman's
the
gotten
aisle
bought
looking.
out, I think they've gone down in quality, I think.
There's a lot less selection. I'll say
Yes.
that much. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
What are the ballistics like on a 28 gauge compared to like a 20 or 12? For some reason, one of the podcasts, I thought they're like a patterning or something was similar.
I think if like efficiency wise is about like, I mean, because I think shotguns are kind of like their own kind of special thing, because like your pattern's going to be the same size regardless, basically, like within a couple inches here and there, but like but you're just like the density is where you're gonna, like, obviously you're gonna lose, because you're talking like, I think now that 28 gauge is they now have a 3-inch 28 gauge, which I think was recently produced in the last like couple years. I know I've seen some guys running some 1-ounce loads in 28 gauge. So you're gonna have, I mean, that should pattern close to a 20 gauge with a 1-ounce load. But I think the typical load for a 28 gauge is like 3/4 of an ounce to 5/8. So like I think the 28 gauge makes more sense once you start dropping pellets and go into like bismuth and stuff like that. Especially like the harder stuff, because you're not going to have like the barrel, like the ones that are scrubbing the barrel when they go out, you're just going to have those ones typically kind of do what they want when they leave the barrel, patterning wise. So you just kind of, because of the shot column and all that. So I think you're just gonna, with the smaller pellets and the 28 gauge, I think is where you're gonna probably find its sweet spot.
And I don't know that 28 gauge isn't, like, this is my opinion, better than the 20 or the 12 or 16 even. It's just that you don't give up as much as people think for a lot smaller, more agile gun for the kind of hunting that a lot of us do and the miles that we walk carrying that gun. So it's like you give up a little bit, and like Jared's saying, pattern density, but in a lot of cases, unless you start getting out at a distance, like the holes in that pattern on average, that 28 gauge, are still smaller than a quail. So like, is it worth giving up the extra pellets that aren't going to kill a quail any deader to have a lot, have more or less weight? Like, I think that's where that comes in. But then like you have to be careful also on which gun, like 28 gauge you're looking at, because some 28 gauges, I forgot which, Jared and I were chatting about this a while ago, but are heavier than the 20 gauge in that same gun because they use the same 20 gauge frame, and the barrels will have more metal. And so therefore it's a few ounces, maybe half a pound or a quarter pound heavier than the 20 gauge. So you're getting less pattern density and a heavier gun going 28 gauge. And that's not true of all 28 gauges. If you buy, I think like the Beretta is lighter, and a lot of these are lighter, but when you mess around with that too much, you got to be careful in seeing, actually checking the weight on some of those, because not a lot, in some lines of shotguns like over-unders, the 20 gauge is the lightest one because that's the smallest frame with the largest bore diameter.
Yeah. I remember that now in a couple podcasts ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was on a podcast we were talking about. I can't remember if we probably texted Jared and we talked about it. But yeah, it's a weird weird thing. It's all kind of case by case, I think, gun brand and even model by model. But all that being said, I'm also 28 gauge curious.
Yeah. I pack the 12. Just, it's got sentimental value to me. That's why I always carry it. I mean, for dove and quail, it's overkill. But I mean, I have a 20 gauge. I have two 20 gauges in the safe that my kids use, one of them was mine, but they're shooting those, so I'm always grabbing my 12. So
nothing wrong with the 12. They almost get kind of shamed nowadays with a lot of the sub gauge love, which is probably warranted. But I mean, the love is warranted, but the hate really isn't. I mean, nothing's killed more birds in this continent than 12 gauge shotgun. So,
and you can use them for everything. I mean, turkeys. I mean, geese, waterfowl. I mean, it's a good all around gun.
Nothing's more versatile than that, really. Yeah. Jared, you can tell me if I'm wrong on that, but I don't think there's anything more versatile than 12 gauge shotgun.
No, I every time like I think about like getting a new shotgun, I'm just like, I'm like, I still have my 12 gauge. It still does everything I needed to do, and like I just shoot I'll shoot lighter loads. Is like when I switch to different I'll shoot 1 ounce loads in my 12 gauge. Like, they pattern pretty well. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think it's just the cheapness in me. I'm just like, I still have this thing. I might as well just keep shooting it till it breaks. And I don't know. I'm 14 years in, so I don't know.
I don't know. I appreciate that the wear on something like the patina of something like you're saying you've had your vest for a long time, since I think he's in high school. My old vest. So I'm only on my second vest, right? My first one I had for like 30 years. And I'm only 40. So not 30, 25 years. I think I was like 15. But it's just like, I love that about something you can hunt with for that long and use that long. So yeah, Jared, I don't blame you. Like, by the time you're done hunting, whenever that is, like that 870 should be nice and worn. Like my brother has a Benelli Nova. Before they had the Supernova and the Nova distinction, it was like the first one was just like the Nova, and it could do like 3.5, could do it all. But he bought that when he was in high school, and he's only shot. This is the only gun he really has that he hunts with, and he uses on everything. He duck, goose, pheasant, the whole thing, and the camo. It's like Max 4 camo or something, whatever it was back in that day, and like you can see right where his hands go on the gun, like it's all worn off, and. I remember he was saying something. We were talking about something last season. I was just like, he said something like, camo's worn off. And I'm like, dude, that's like the coolest thing about your gun. Like, someday your kids are going to have that gun. They're going to be like, yep, here's your dad put his hands, and here's where his cheek rested on it, and it's all worn off right where you held it. Like, that's actually really, in my opinion, it's really cool. I like seeing that.
Yeah, I have my grandpa's old Remington 31
Yeah.
in 12 gauge. And it's I still hunt with it every year. I usually take it out at least once. Um, or twice, whatever like that. But yeah, it's same kind of thing. It's got the patina on it, and it's a cool gun, and I mean, I think he bought it in like 40 in the 40s, um, and it still shoots, still does everything it's supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah, my grandpa's still with us, but he gave us all of his guns because he's in retirement home now, and um, he has like a Benelli Super Black Eagle too that he bought somewhat recently. Like it's a and that's like I was like I got this really nice gun, and he thought that was the gun we would all want, like because it's the nicest in his brain. He's like, this is the best gun I've had, and we're all like that. At least me, I'm like, I want your Winchester Ranger, like that was the one I remember when you were a kid, and he's in his brain. He's like, I upgraded to this Super Black Eagle too. Like, why would you want that old pump? And I'm like, look, that's the one you used to carry, and that value is way more to me than any technology or any advancements you could throw in a new gun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Rex, do you have anything else for the good of the podcast here? You wanted to talk about, or hope that we had asked you?
No, I mean, going back to the chapter kind of stuff. I have two pieces of property. One, the landowners said we can just do whatever we want on it, and then
That's awesome.
tentatively meeting with another landowner tomorrow and see what he's got going and what we can do out there. That's kind of the big news for me. Kind of been an exciting week for me with habitat.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's really cool.
How far do you guys run your dogs, like in front of you when you're out in the field?
How far do I want my dog to go, or how far does he actually go?
Yes.
Those are two vastly different things.
Yes.
Both, Jared.
Yes. I like to keep him about 20 or so yards in front of me, 20, 30.
Okay.
Sometimes he's 30 to 100, which is also part of the reason why I still shoot a 12 gauge. Um, but I feel like that's a me issue and not a him issue. I feel like that's we're still working on some stuff. He is
Okay.
under a year, so I'll give him I'll give him a little bit of credit. But yeah, I generally try to keep him within 20, 30 yards. That way, like, because I kind of figure the bird is probably going to be probably a couple yards in front of him, and then it just kind of starts stacking on each other after that, like where the shots are going to be a little further and stuff like that. So that's why I generally like to keep my dog.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm similar. I think like 20 yards
Yeah.
is probably ideal for most cover. Obviously, thicker cover times we bunch up and we're right next to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and we flush birds that way too. Depends on the cover, but yeah, in that range is where I want her. Like for Bridget, where's she at? Over there. She'll stay in that range. She rarely gets out of range. I'm not sure if it was just ingrained in her. She's also like super attached to me, so that's probably part of it too. She was like a pandemic dog. But she really won't range. In fact, there's something I can see when she gets a little too far, like something goes off in her head and she turns around, looks at me, and comes running back closer. Like she just can't do it. Sophie is a different story. She'll go if it's open cover, she's hunting for herself and trying to find her own birds. And I don't really care if you shoot them or not. I'm going to flush them. But most of the time in thicker cover, she'll stay pretty close. But yeah, that tight range is what I want. So for flushing, flushing birds and not pointing birds, I'm going to keep them nice and close.
Yeah, I try around 20 yards because a lot of the time I'm hunting by myself. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it out too far.
Yeah.
And she kind of relies on me I beep or call her. I just give it a quick beep if she's getting too far, and she turns right back around and comes back into range. So it's
awesome.
I don't have to yell at her. I don't have. It's just a quick beep, and she knows she's out of range and needs to come back.
Yeah, I think I kind of want to get like a beeper call. I don't have one because I think I inadvertently taught Bones his comeback call is when I yell too far, and they'll turn around and come back at me. So that was not. I don't know why I kept saying too far, and more of like a, hey, I think it was more of a thing to myself to be like, hey, your dog's too far ahead of you. So I just yell too far, and he turns around, and comes back at me. So I think that's unfortunately now my new call for him. So
Not a bad one. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's
And
not,
honestly,
but
like,
it's just like I'm constantly yelling too far.
too
And-
far. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, when we're hunting with bones in thicker cover, which most of the time we're in thicker cover, like that's where we usually want to be. He stays pretty
Yeah.
close.
He does.
He's not
He
really
does pretty
ranging
well.
that far. But yeah, when we're after huns and it's that thin cover, he just
Yeah,
can't help
it's-
himself but see that wide open space and we'll go check
He
that
just
out.
runs. Yeah.
That's how Bo is.
He'll learn.
Yeah, he'll figure it out.
Yeah, with the beeper caller, the trainer, he said when you beep them, follow up with a command, and then you can slowly just limit the beeper till you get rid of the beeper, and then it's just the command. But I'd rather use the beeper because I don't
Yeah.
want to be yelling out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
You-
You can be quiet and just give him the little beep
yeah.
Yeah.
on her neck. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's ideal. Nothing better than be able to hunt quietly, whether
Yeah.
you're by yourself or with others. Like it's always a fun time when everything's working out just right. You're not having to yell at your dog or yell at your partner. It's like, hey, why are you going that way? That kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's always the goal for me, at least.
Same.
It's tough sometimes. Sometimes you're talking to your dog a lot.
Yeah.
Who are you talking
This is
to?
how it goes.
The dog.
All right. Well, Jared, did you have anything else for Rex?
No, I think that was it.
Yeah, same. All right. Well, with that, Rex, thanks for coming on, joining us here on the show. We'll have to have you on again sometime and maybe get some updates about what we're doing for Habitat and in the future seasons here coming up. But for that, thanks everyone for listening to another episode of the Go Flush Yourself podcast. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Go Flush Yourself podcast. Check us out on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and X. We also have a Patreon where for a $2 a month subscription, you can help keep our podcast on the air. We also have merchandise available. Please check out the podcast description or the Patreon page for links to merchandise.